Welcome to First Minister's Questions Review from Three Men and a Blog. And today it's the hardcore trio of Norrie Stewart, Phil Attridge and myself, Stuart Lockhead. And I think we did have a bit of we had fun and games at FMQs today. Very different. I think we'll start off with Phil. Phil, what did you think of the FMQs today before we get to the performances?
Salmon in top form, yeah. Just basically a rollover again, you know.
What about all the banging and shouting and...
Oh, it was the presiding officer. I mean, he did seem to run it fine, but he just seemed to let them go on. It was like a school full of dysfunctional kids.
That's not... Yeah, schoolroom full of dysfunctional kids.
It really was, a lot of kids.
I remember that.
And what's that term they have, ADH or something? It's, you know, I mean, they should really give them all their medication before they go in. It's getting rather pathetic, that banging and jeering. You wonder actually if it's the unionists and it's deliberate, this whole idea. Look at them, they couldn't run anything, you know, I don't know.
What, the suicide plot?
Yeah, the suicide
They just make the Scottish Parliament look so stupid that everybody will want to abolish it.
Jenny Mara.
Well, no, there are some that get... But
what's his name that spoke last time?
It's collective hysteria.
The guy that should be the leader of the Labour Party.
Ken McIntosh?
Ken McIntosh.
Well,
they look like grown-ups.
He does.
Richard Simpson got a bit passionate, but I mean, he was on his subject.
Not very accurately, but on his subject.
I mean, I have to say, I think it was very, very different in the sense that it seemed that there were ad hoc questions being allowed by this presiding officer and supplementaries, and that seemed to make it much more interesting. But whether it appeared to be more interesting, but it just ended up as a shouting off match.
Why it wasn't interesting was because it was all about the NHS.
Police.
Well, I mean, the police questions weren't. You know, I mean, the Labour Party. We want to know how many people are losing their jobs. Well, that 1,400 figure you handed out is a figure that's been published, and that's how many people are no longer going to work for. However, none of them are going to be made compulsorily redundant.
Yeah.
You just won't be replaced.
We want to know how many people are going to lose it. Well, you've just told me how many people are going to lose their jobs, and I've just told you the good thing is none of them are going to be made redundant. But we want, what part of none of them are going to be made redundant did you not get yet, you knobhead?
And it was that, I got an inward groan when Joanna Lamont said, the European Union. I thought, oh no.
I know, I think we all said, she opened with the European Union.
Well, I mean, reading quotes about misconstruing. Well, sorry, when it comes to the European Union, I mean, sorry, look in a mirror. You want to see what misconstruing is about.
Simon is the trick there.
Yeah.
Mr. Trick, he should have come straight back and said, well, actually, we're going to speak to the Westminster government about that and get them to ask the European Union for clarity, because we're not allowed to. Now, bugger off and ask the person who should be asked.
And then there was, the other one, then there was Ruth, you know, with Ruth Davidson with...
She was completely
when she jumped straight up the whole way she did it, like, you know, like she was in
What's that about?
What she holds her chin.
What's that about?
And then it's, we want to know the date. Well, it'll be issued in April. But
no, March.
March.
And wait a minute, and it's February tomorrow, so it's only a month away.
Yeah, but then she turns around and says, yes, but
I
know. Well, why are you asking for it then, if you know it? The people of Scotland deserve to know it. They'll get to know that, you know, in March, when the bill is produced. That's the way Parliament works.
I think he completely floored her with that, because she just bumbled on.
But he floored a lot, because there was other questions like, well, Simpsons, this whole bit. And I'm sorry, Salmon makes a really, really pertinent point when he talks about the way they would a Labour administration would have not ring-fenced. I mean, if you're talking about losing jobs in the NHS, there would have been wiped because it would have cut the amount of money.
Well, basically, let's clarify this. What happened was, according to Salmon, and I don't think anybody argued about this, that both. Who was it McConnell in the 2007 Scottish election said that they would
cut your cloth.
They would not, wouldn't ring fence NHS money. In 2011, Gray said the same thing, and now they're moaning because cuts have to be made because the money's coming 24% cut from Westminster or something.
And I would actually like to see how much money in the NHS, if somebody could actually work it out, if they had borrowed the money for the capital projects like the new Royal Infirmary, and if they'd been allowed to borrow that as part of government, therefore you would have access to cheaper loans, handed all over to the private sector.
Yes, what happened to this?
How much is that costing the NHS?
Oh, I know,
and that's totally down to Labour and Liberals.
Robert, what happened to this promise? It was years ago that the Scottish Government would be able to borrow money. Is that
I think, is there not something in Calman about that?
Yeah, but that doesn't come in until 2015, does it?
Yes.
It will come in 2014.
I don't think anything in
14,
applies till 2015.
Yeah, but there is
Income tax
definitely
and stuff.
There is definitely, well, they basically had to do it. You can't be held responsible for your fiscal position unless you can be responsible for your borrowing. You know,
Anyway, it was certainly a different FMQs today, without a doubt. And I noticed that something very unusual, that my ordinary Twitter timeline was full of all these comments about First Minister's questions, which normally you have to put in hashtag FMQ to get that, but not. Today, there seem to be a lot of people who are watching it and are making a lot of comments. Let's try and run through the performances without talking about scores yet. Norrie?
I thought Joanne did all right, but I'm getting bored now. She has to come up with something else. They're obviously going to hammer the NHS. 90% of the questions were about that.
Yeah, but she was on about the EU and the Irish foreign and European minister
are
said.
you seriously trying to tell me that nobody in the Labour Party looked at forgotten the name, Nicola's blog
And the email.
to see the email from the minister?
Black and white from the Irish European minister.
I mean, are they so stupid and incompetent?
Probably. She said she was misconstrued by the BBC.
After the piece, I mean, okay, they're going to hammer the Alex is a liar and all that stuff, which is why I think
It's the dishonesty thing that keep plugging away at.
Salmond missed the opportunity to say, right, okay, you want an answer to that question, you get the British government to ask the question. They're your comrades in arms in the No campaign, so get them to ask the question.
Well, Joanne was quite clearly the target of one tweet when someone said the presiding officer should switch off whoever's asking the question's mic after 30 seconds. Because Joanne Lamont just makes speeches.
Well, our last...
And she reads them too.
Our last flurry, I was really surprised Salmon didn't just get on side, did you ask a question? Because I didn't see a question in it.
I must admit it.
She didn't even finish with, and what does the First Minister think of that then?
Yeah, she just makes these speeches. Because it's all about getting it in the mainstream media.
It's like an arrogance she comes across. It's the same, like I said, I had an inward crone. Then she has that shifty delivery where the eyes are going up and down and they look hooded. It just doesn't look good. She should really study it herself. And then it's this constant negative innuendo about lying and I'm sorry, well, I agree with you. It's getting really, really boring.
Right, what about Ruth's performance?
When they ever think about that, does she think that makes her look smart or something? No, it was literally a dearie me, and there was nothing there. She fell to pieces as soon as he stood up and said, right, we'll give you the date in March.
Yeah.
We'll deliver it to Parliament like you're supposed to. Mm-hmm. We won't give it to the Scotsman the day before, although he didn't say that.
But we know what you meant.
Misreporting there. And then she fell to pieces.
I thought so too.
She just kind of crumbled, and people comment on the Twitter feed about her. What was it? He said she looked like an eel. But then the last part of it was really good, where he
was a performance art.
Impromptu performance art,
Which
is
David's
exactly what it looked
impromptu
like.
Performance art.
Hit the nail right on the head there.
What she was on.
It was dire.
What about you on
well, that bit where she came in, I've seen that. It's usually when you get like a song and dance team thing on it, and they come in and it's like, and then you go into a wee tap dance. But she forgot the tap dance, obviously. Might have made the performance a bit more interesting.
But it's a gesture I would use in a cartoon.
Yeah.
To depict somebody that was thick as mince, kidding on they were smart.
Well, and she's not as thick. She's not as thick as Mince, but I must admit she does a fair impersonation of it.
Talking about Mince, how many comments was there about Joanne being rolled out on a Thursday for FMQs and then rolled back in to stir the Mince?
No, I mean, sorry, it's just like
she apparently, well, she disappears. Apart from turning up for FMQs and standing there every week, she vanishes all the time.
Yesterday.
She doesn't appear.
Did you make a single comment
She is
anywhere yesterday?
So hopeless at ad hoc answering questions that they're scared to wheel her out.
do you know what she reminds you of with the delivery, the out and that? You know, if you stand at the curb gate, no, not be sexy or anything else, it's just being observant, you know, and you get that group of old wifeys that are always like that, and they're sitting there, and it's, aye, right, you're all at it, and then she comes back next week, and aye, right, you're all at it, and it's like, come on then, say something different,
Well,
say something incisive.
Actually, I missed Willie. Well, it was his week off.
Well, I mean, I think he improves in his statesman-like delivery.
When he's not there.
When he's not there, yeah.
No, I won't go. But you missed that.
I missed
I
that.
actually missed somebody getting up and being statesman-like. You know,
I'll tell you, it was good. Was Margot? It was good to see Margot get up and.
she got a nice wee dig in there. Actually.
Yeah.
Because I think it's about the assumption that whatever the SNP says will be what will be. You know, when it's
Well, they are the government.
But it was good to see her up. There were a lot of questions, and this question of supplementary questions.
Yeah, he went a bit. Yeah.
But a presiding officer let a lot of those. Well, in the end, he kind of lost control. It was the whole thing, as you say, delinquents.
But there were some of them with the supplementary questions, people that actually looked like serious, incisive politicians.
Well, it was more
who did
interesting
mess
than the
with Ken and Jenny Mara and stuff like that.
Well,
Yeah, I mean,
again,
exactly as you expect. What you would expect to
The
see.
Twitter feed comment about Jenny Mara cementing her place as a potential replacement.
For Joanne Lemon.
I mean, you know, she started to wear her glasses in there now to make herself look as though she reads books and stuff, which she never used to do. No, but I mean, her delivery is much better.
She certainly got the face for it. So.
Well, Ken, I mean, I voted for Ken McIntosh.
We were talking about Jenny Manor.
No, but I'm saying with Ken McIntosh
Oh, right.
as well, get the delivery.
Well,
good delivery.
he stood up, looked smart, looked like there could be a leader. But she's Joan Mont.
She's just, I'm sorry, when you had Alex and Elliot there and you know, that came along and watching it, you know.
Well, we were here a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, and like, she just isn't. But then maybe that is one of the major plots for the components of the No campaign. Keep Brunton Joanne, keep Brunton Joanne. They'll all be so scared that she could possibly be First Minister, they'll all vote no.
Yeah.
Well, I have to say it's been a good week for the Yes campaign. Yesterday's announcements by the Electoral Commission to the 3 points. One, the slight change in the question. I think the Yes campaign got a result there. On the funding, I think they got a result there. It could, because it's even money. It could easily have been
better than even.
It could have been. It could have been very different, and especially the third. The recommendation came out of the blue that both sides should get together and outline what will happen immediately after the vote, regardless of whether it's a yes or a no, because that's what the voters want to know. Now, the No campaign, they do not want to tell us what
No,
will
because the
happen.
No campaign, if they win, just want to run around screaming and cheering and just being.
Oh no,
fun.
I think it's worse than that. They want to strip
And roll
Scotland
back
of power.
and start to roll. But they will. There's no doubt
Cut
in
the
my
line.
mind they will roll back. I mean, when you see people like Ian Davidson and a lot of them down there and the arse, they'll all be wanting to, you know, take it all the way back.
Is Ian Davidson Ruth Davidson's uncle?
No,
You sure?
I'm not absolutely.
Oh no. Sorry. One is rather posh, and the other one most definitely isn't.
It's his sister.
Who's,
No, it isn't.
Who's upwardly mobile? His upwardly mobile young sister.
Yeah, that's why it's better twisted. She's doing better than him.
Well, come on, let's have a few scores before we witter on. Norrie, on the three, they've only, well, four including the presiding officer.
I'm gonna give Joanne 2, basically because she doesn't get what I don't think she particularly improved. Somebody does have to tell her to try to condense the 6 words she wants to say from 6 words to 1.
Yeah.
I mean, 3,000 bloody word essays that are supposed to be questions. Nah. It needs to be sharper, but she's not shaking like a shouting dog anymore.
Well.
You know. So I'm going to give her 2 because her performance was crap. But Ruth, entertainment, going to give her a bold 3 because.
What entertainment? Yeah, well, I did think
Just
we were going to get.
entertainment.
I did think we were going to get song and dance the way she came in.
No content, no
She's a Tory. What do you
presence, nothing. But she was entertaining. Alex, I'm going to give Alex. Actually, I'm going to give him a 9 because of his bit at the end. When the Tory guy asked him about shovel-ready projects delivered, and he fudged it, and the guy wasted his supplementary asking the same question again, and then he rolled out the parchment
Oh, yes.
and read the list off.
Couldn't speak worry, that was his Ciceronian moment.
Yeah, so I'm going to give Alex 9. Presiding officer, I didn't think did well this week. I'm only going to give him 4, and that's mostly for attempted.
There was no attempt. It was almost as if he
No,
wasn't
he
there
did.
at all.
He was banging his gavel and shouting, but it wasn't effective. So what we presumed we saw in him, which was natural authority, I don't think is there.
That was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I don't think he actually has it.
No, he obviously doesn't.
And now, right then, Mr. Ettridge, what about you? What about the scores?
I'll start with Ruth. Yeah, I did think I was getting a song and dance. So if I hadn't got a song and dance, I might have given it 2. But I was disappointed, and there was no contest. Back to normal. I'm not going to give her anything. Joanne. No, it's boring, and it's a new script writer, and it's all innuendo and snide remarks. I'll drop below the 5. I'll give her party loyalty. I'll give her 4.
Your bias shines through.
Oh, my bias definitely shines through. Salmon, I thought he was good. I'd given him a higher score than what I'm going to give him, which is 9, because I thought he was on top 4. But he really wants to get. He can, particularly with the nasty side and untrue comments that he tends to get from quite across the board. He should try being a bit angrier and really going a bit for the jugular.
Well, they got angry eventually about nurses.
Because that was just rank hypocrisy, actually, from the question. And the presiding officer, sorry, I was chair for a long time. 4 is really. He was just non-existent. I'll give him 2 for turning up.
Oh, 2, okay. Right, on the presiding officer, well, you see, I'm a bit torn. On the one hand, I thought he did a great job by allowing all these supplementary questions. And because Willie Rennie wasn't... firstly, because Ruth's question was immediately answered by Alex by saying, yes, the date will be announced in March. And after that, whatever she said was just escaping gas. And Willie not having a question, there was room for quite a lot of backbench questions, and we got quite a lot. I think he gets a bonus for that, the presiding officer. But on the other hand, he did let... Do you know, it overran by about 5 minutes. I mean, goodness, I think the BBC engineers were having kittens waiting to switch over as they'd like to.
Oh, well, can I up my point is, if he buggered up the BBC, I'm giving him 5, not 4.
Okay, he's going to 5. So I'm going to give him actually 6, because I think there was lack of control towards the end. On the other hand, mächtig me.
He only gave out all the supplementary questions because he couldn't control. He tried to do that just to calm them down.
Well, anyway, I enjoyed it. Made it more entertaining. Ruth, I think she was absolutely floored. I mean, when Alex she said, when will you announce the date of the referendum? Alex says, it's basically March, and February starts tomorrow. And she wittered on then saying, well, we know, I know the date of the referendum.
Why is he asked?
And she didn't. She was worse than Joanne in his like, she did not listen to what Alex said. I give her 0. She was awful. Joanne, dearie me. As I said earlier, she just makes speeches. They get boring. They make no sense because they wander all over the place. She would get nothing for composition if she had submitted that as a composition in the English class. I think I'll give her 2. She was really awful. Alex, I thought Alex was in great form this week. And I agree with you. I always note down when he gets angry, and it's usually about the NHS. If he gets accused of, in any way, of letting down the NHS, he gets angry, and he came back with that. I noticed that there are various lines that the Yes campaign will be using, are already using, and one of them is where Westminster has failed. What does it say? Westminster isn't working for Scotland. I noticed he managed to, somewhere when he was talking about approved plans for costs and numbers, talking about crime and all the rest of it, and he said Westminster failed us, but we now have, the lowest crime, and the police have confidence in the government and all that kind of stuff.
Well, they're talking about
But look, let me just finish, and then we can blather a bit more. And then, as I say, when he was angry about the NHS, I'm going to give him. I'll give him 9. I think we're all giving him 9. Sorry, Phil. What you were?
No. Just that bit we said about the police, and when you look south of the border, I mean, the ammunition, and it's not just the police. I mean, their NHS is going to vanish. What you're going to get is all the worst aspects of American society. I mean, any half-wit will be able to stand for these police commissioners, and then they'll be appointing their mates. The chief constable, I'll get my wee lad in, he's just finished school. Yeah, he can be the chief constable.
Yes, apparently you wouldn't need to have done any police service.
No, anybody,
Or 15 months of police service.
Yeah, you get a 15-month training course.
But you can go straight in as a superintendent.
Which, by the way, could actually be real-time 6 months if they include training college.
Yeah, and also you'll be able to come straight out of the army or straight out of G4S, or 4GS, or whatever they want to call it this week, and get a job as a superintendent.
Fantastic.
Right in there, on big bucks. And then, of course, with the NHS, that's all going to vanish. I mean, everything's... I mean, it's...
Is this all you got to rant about this week, Phil?
No, I could go on for ages, but I mean, you'll probably get half it'll be size, because
Can we make a comment about this cartoon in the Guardian? Steve Bell's cartoon?
As a cartoonist, I thought it was absolutely brilliant, because it can be taken as a straightforward "fuck you, Salmon," but there's so many levels to it.
I think the thing that most people get upset about it comes across as simply insulting Scotland. Fuck you, Scotland.
I'm sorry, he's like Scarf. He insults everybody.
That's got to make a lot more people vote yes.
A lot of people didn't get the connection, which I think is there. I mean, I could be wrong, obviously, to the microphone failing at
Prime Minister's questions yesterday were
right where it looked like
the accusation was, of course, that David Cameron had more or less said "fuck you" to Angus Robertson, but we'll find out. It should be in Hansard, because as far as I know, he did actually say it was only whatever he said just wasn't put up with the mic, and therefore it should appear in Hansard.
Well, somebody actually get me a Steve Bell cartoon where he doesn't literally eviscerate whoever he's got on it. I mean, have you ever seen a Steve Bell cartoon where he's nice to the person that he's making the cartoon on?
The fact of the matter is that,
he's very good.
Bell's entitled to hold a unionist view, and if his view is right, bugger you lot, fine. And I'm sorry for the cybernats, the
Uni-trolls.
Uni-trolls.
Who came up with that one? Was it Ian McWhirter?
Yes, it was.
A point of information there. You're both assuming that what he's saying is can fuck off. If you actually have a look at it, it could be govern. It could be positive. It's just that people are assuming it's negative.
Well, that's fair enough. Then.
But, I mean, there are so many levels, and your presumption is to take it at face value. I'm sorry, Steve Bell is a very clever laddie.
And he'll be lying,
but
giggling and laughing his head off.
Can I just point out that the Guardian's Scottish correspondent, Severin Carroll, was saying today, in jest, that he'd got his expenses approved for a bunker, an underground bunker.
Yeah.
The Guardian has been getting so many brickbats. Actually, the comments below the cartoon were very revealing. I can recommend go and look at the Guardian, Steve Bell's cartoon, big picture of Alex Salmond, and the comments, 500 comments by now. Fascinating stuff. But thank you very much for watching, and we hope to see you again next week.